Hello and welcome back to All About Community again. My name is Robert L. Harris and my guest is Dr. Calvin Wheeler. Dr. Wheeler, we've been talking about our roots in Arkadelphia, Arkansas, and it's so important to have programs of this nature so that our viewers, especially our young people, can see what they are capable of being. It doesn't matter where you start in life. It only matters where you end. So, Kevin, you went from Peak High School to where?
So after, I also did the 4 years of math as well, Mrs. Snowden taught us in high school.
Okay.
So when we graduated, 56 of us in our high school graduating class, 48 went to college. So I went to Henderson State University in Arkadelphia. It had just been integrated about 4 years earlier. So Ouachita Baptist University and Henderson
Right, they're right across the street from each other. I remember that.
Exactly.
And then from Henderson, you went where?
So from Henderson, I went to the University of Michigan.
And you studied what at the University of Michigan?
I went to the College of Pharmacy.
All right.
That was my first foray instead of moving the math and science into a more specific area. Initially, I was interested in aeronautical engineering. And then around the time of high school graduation, the whole aeronautics industry was in recession and they were laying off. So I thought that I would do something different.
So at the University of Michigan, you studied pharmacy, right?
I studied pharmacy.
And then you weren't satisfied with that. You decided to go somewhere else after that, right?
I did, yeah.
And where did you go?
So I'll just say that at University of Michigan, that was my first really mind-opening, sort of future-opening opportunities. I got to see other folk who looked like me, role models who were professors, met people who were physicians, pharmacists, etc. So while at Michigan, in pharmacy school, I got probably 4 or 5 classes that were mixed with pharmacy students and medical students at Michigan. So we did those courses together.
And you left there, Michigan, and went to?
Went to University of California in Irvine.
All right.
For the College of Medicine.
That's where my youngest son went to Irvine.
Yes, yes.
And that's where you studied medicine?
That's where I studied medicine.
And did you focus in any particular area of medicine?
I did, yeah. So after graduating in medical school, I matched in pediatrics, my primary residency interest. So 3 years of pediatrics, and then when I finished that, I did 3 additional years of pediatric neurology. And then after that, I did a year of epilepsy.
Now, what is pediatric neurology?
So pediatric neurology.
So that our viewers will understand.
Pediatric neurology is really the neurology of infants and children. You know, I'm sure most people know about adults who have strokes and who have brain tumors and who have progressive neurologic diseases, Alzheimer's, etc. But there are also a large group of disorders that affect children and infants. Infants and children can also have brain tumors. They can have epilepsy, headaches. They can have muscle disease. They can be born with genetic disorders, etc. Developmental delay, educational delay. Those are all things that we treat in pediatric neurology. And my subspecialty was in epilepsy. And then I did fellowship in cerebral palsy as well, which really mixes well for children with developmental disorders. They often will have epilepsy and they may have cerebral palsy as well.
And viewers, I want you to know my cousin is a bad doctor. And I mean bad. Now you left and went to, I guess your first job, was it at Kaiser Permanente?
It was.
Now tell us about that experience.
Yeah, so I was doing those last 2 fellowships at Children's Hospital in Boston, Harvard Med School. And while I was there, a couple of docs here at Kaiser Permanente in Northern California were looking to have someone start the pedi neurology service. And so one of their colleagues, who actually was one of my professors in Boston, connected them to me. So they called me up and I came out to interview, and so as they say, the rest is history. I came out to start the pedi neurology service at Kaiser Permanente in Northern California. And the service has grown tremendously over the last almost 40 years.
And just remember now, where he started, in a 2-room schoolhouse in Gum Springs, Arkansas.
No running water.
No running water, outdoor toilets now. Oh man, I tell you, you have made a significant achievement in your life, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And I believe you may be board certified in.
Right, I have board certification in pediatrics. And
What does that mean?
So what that means is that you have to test and pass the certification standards for all of the physicians within that specialty across the country. And that's one of the ways that, for instance, hospital systems, et cetera, and some medical groups require for physicians to be maintained with the group. It also sets a standard for a level of practice as well.
And you, during your career at Casa Permanente, you've been in a number of positions, and I believe ultimately you ended up as physician-in-chief.
I did.
And that's significant. Why is that significant?
Well, that is significant. So I'll say that, I served for 7 years as an assistant physician-in-chief after having been the regional director for ped neurology across the region. And the physicians-in-chief are the ones who are the leaders of the medical centers. Essentially, they're the CEOs of the medical center. In Northern California, we now have 21 medical centers. Each one has a physician-in-chief. There are some dyads, as we call it, so there's a combination of two together. And so I was in a dyad, we called it the Greater Southern Alameda area, and that included the Fremont, Hayward, and later San Leandro medical centers. So I was served in that role for 18 and a half years.
18 and a half years is a long time. We got to go to break, so don't touch that remote. We will be right back with All About Community. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris, and my guest is Dr. Kevin Wheeler.